Hello, this is a video concerning Clive Barker. The writer and filmmaker is grilled by the student audience of young people about his work and the effect it has on an audience. Of course, you're going to find out that he's really being grilled by the female half of the audience. And they don't just talk about his work, they start attacking him. I'll show you what I mean. We'll start off slow.
Do you agree that video nasties have led to an increase in brutal assaults by teenagers on the elderly and children?
Now, what a loaded question. When she says teenagers, she means male teenagers, doesn't she? And assault on children and the elderly, never heard of it. Never heard of it. The young men might assault other young men primarily. They don't attack the elderly or children. So, that's bullshit from the start. By the way, early on, a couple of the guys maybe asked him a question like that, but it dries up. And after a while, all the guys start asking questions that are respectful and are about what his work. They're not attacking him. Okay. Now check this out.
Is a Canadian and one of the greatest Canadian filmmakers. His movies are practically banned in his own country. I think it's regrettable.
Yes, do you want to come in the second back row?
You stated that you have gone to autopsies as a form of entertainment, and therefore it would seem to me that you share the same macabre tastes as Myra Hindley and Brady, who enjoyed the thrill of dismembering the bodies.
Yeah, this young lady, she just comes right out, and it's not about his work anymore. She's attacking him. You've got a sick mind, Clive Barker. You get a thrill out of autopsies. You've got a sick mind. Let's see how he takes it.
Of their victims.
Well, I'm assuming two things. Firstly, that there is a kind of curiosity that we have as humans.
Yeah, he's like a black man saying to the KKK, let me explain to you why I'm a good guy. When I was looking at the white girl, I didn't have lust in my heart. She just happened to be walking by. This is what's going on here. This is pathetic. Clive Barker, he should have been responded with anger at this personal attack. This is a personal attack now. This isn't about his work. This is about her saying he's got a sick mind. Here's the next one.
I'm talking to Mr. Average here, to be honest.
Well, I wouldn't like to be thought of quite as Mr. Average, but I would like to think that the kind of fiction that I am presenting is reflecting, and does seem to be reflecting, otherwise I don't see why the books are selling, a genuine curiosity and a genuine interest in the subject matter.
Well, I know Melanie Horn was going to ask a question about just how average you are.
How average am I?
You admit an enjoyment of confrontation with your nightmares. Don't you think this shows a slightly warped mind? So the whole idea.
Yeah, doesn't this show you that you have a slightly warped mind? Again, this is not about his work. This is her attacking him personally.
The idea of nightmares is that they terrify you.
No, the whole idea of nightmares, as far as the psyche is concerned.
Yeah, look, you said I have a warped mind, but let's put that aside. Let me try to explain to you, white-hooded person, how I, the black guy, am really a good person. There's a reason behind all this. This is so typical of men even now on YouTube, always trying to pretend this is a misunderstanding. This is just a misunderstanding when you attack me personally. Pathetic. Clive Barker is taking it like a little bitch. All right, this woman takes the cake.
He seems to bear this out. Those images are going to be in common with my readership.
Yes.
What type of person would you say you are? You go to autopsies, you see people getting cut up, and you get cheap thrills out of it. What type of person would you...
You get cheap... She knows his brain, his inner mind. You get cheap thrills out of it. She didn't even ask him. She didn't even frame it as a question. She just told him outright. And by the way, this is later on in the interview. So it's already asked and answered. So she's coming right after him, and see the kind of smirk on her face? This is what ticks me off about the opposite sex. Clive Barker he's a man with status. So even though I go on about guys getting zapped because they got low status, women are after all the guys. She's taking pot shots at him. And he had to build up status to get where he is. This woman doesn't need status because she's female. So when she's done bullying him and socially dominating him, she's going to go home and enjoy herself. You know, she lives life on easy mode. And yet here she is attacking this man's character. And he probably takes it like a little bitch again.
Describe yourself as.
I hoped I defended myself against the cheap thrills description. I don't think it was.
See, yeah, like he's starting to get annoyed. I thought I defended myself from not being a sick puppy, you know? Clive Barker, you're pathetic. Next.
And remarkably well balanced. My analyst disagrees.
Yes.
I'd like to know how you justify some of the explicitly gory scenes in Hellraiser. And is that the kind of thing that comes out of your imagination? If so, do you put them in just to give people thrills, or?
Yeah, she's re-asking the same question that was just zapped.
Do I just to give people thrills? I certainly hope there are thrills in that. I enjoy that kind of material. I mean, I have
yes,
to.
But
I have
do you
to
enjoy coming out of a film feeling like unfulfilled, thinking, God, I felt sick during that film?
Yes.
You enjoy that?
Yeah, look at that. I got your face. You enjoy that, you sick little puppy. So this is the third or fourth time that they've asked the exact same questions. The guys, by the way, have long past stopped asking it. There was a couple of them at the first that were kind of serious, but they never reached the level of this scumbag. I'll call this one what she is. She's a scumbag. And there's the other one with that sad face on her, look on her face. These are people that have not accomplished anything, and you don't recognize their faces because they never did, because they never had to. But what they're doing is dominating Clive Barker publicly and calling him down and insulting him.
Yes. I mean, what can I tell you? I mean, I was talking about Cronenberg earlier.
Wow. She may as well just hurled a mud pie in his face, and it's just dribbling down his face, and he's trying to explain it nicely. Clive Barker, you were pathetic. No, I purposely showed you the worst ones first, but even so, there's a lot of bullshit from these girls.
Because it was a confrontation by extension with my own mortality.
Yes.
Yeah, it's been said that you like to pile horror upon horror, and obviously watching horror desensitise you to it. What point are you going to go?
Let's stop that for a moment. Why, obviously?
Well, I mean, I know myself that I can watch things now that, like, a year back I couldn't have watched, would have turned my stomach and I've had to have walked out. And I think that goes.
And do you think that desensitizing is unhealthy for you?
Yeah, I think so. I think
why do you then go back to the later experiences in order to find that you've been desensitized?
That is a perfect question. That is a perfect question. So this is bad for her, but she engages in this bad behavior.
Well, it's the same. You remember, I mean, you watch a film and also sometimes
you look at the smile on her face like, uh-oh, I've just been called out.
Just wish you hadn't watched it because it gives you nightmares and you don't enjoy it. But I suppose that's human nature. You're curious,
right.
But I don't know.
Yeah, that's human nature. See, when you're talking about me, it's human nature. We're all just human.
Does that say me it's good for you?
Do you go back to horror movies? I mean, do you watch horror movies?
Not often, no. Only if they're on, sort of thing.
Not often. I don't watch them, but I watch them. This poor girl she just admitted it. She likes it, and so does all these other scumbums in the audience. All these other scumbags. You think this woman here doesn't go and watch horror movies? Of course she does. So all they're doing is bullying Clive Barker in a public setting, and he's taking it like a little bitch. I wouldn't take it from these girls. I would say the first time, ask, okay, that's been answered. And then if it came up a second time, I'd say asked and answered. And the third time, I'd just be putting these people in their place and calling them out. Of course, he doesn't. By the way, Clive Barker definitely says, no, these movies aren't for children. But it's a silly question, too, that they hint at. It's the using children to attack a guy. What if children saw your film? But anyway, this is one I show you too. Clive Barker throws Edgar Allan Poe under the bus.
Whereas I know that Steve King has at his signings massive numbers of 10 to 14-year-olds. They never appear at my signings. The readership for my books just doesn't seem to be there at that age.
Yes, Matthew.
You were talking a couple of minutes ago about writers that you admired, and something occurred to me that possibly the greatest horror writer, the most celebrated, Edgar Allan Poe, had several of the things that you've been talking about, a curiosity about death and almost obsession with it. And he ended up
very much an obsession with it.
And he ended up a raving lunatic and seemed to have been quite a stable man. Do you worry about...
No, he wasn't a stable man. He did want to marry his cousin.
Yeah. See, Edgar Allan Poe, he was a low-life scumbag, but not me. I didn't want to marry my cousin. God. What? This is so typical of male behavior too. We're in on it. Like someone starts poking at Clive and he says, well, let me explain how I'm different. And then they say, well, Edgar Allan Poe, he's kind of like you. He said, oh, no, but he was a real screwball, not like me. This is so typical. Anyway, I just want to show up why the whole purpose of this video is to say that here way back in the 80s, the girls were enjoying dominating and abusing a guy in a public setting because that they'd like it. And guys take it. And I hope by now that guys start fighting back and say, no, there's nothing wrong with me. You're the scumbag. That's what it is. So this is social dominance is what the girls are about. And you won't find, let me tell you something too. You won't find Anne Rice being abused like this in a public interview. None of these women, let alone the guys, are going to come up to Anne Rice and say, hey, how come there's so much homosexuality in your, vampire novels? Why do you have children in your vampire novels? Hey, Anne Rice, how come there's so much pedophilia in your books? How come? How come you show little girls in kind of a sexual relationship with these older men? See, Anne Rice does not get that, does she? So it's all about the guys in each and every case. It's just women abusing guys, and they can get away with it, and guys let them get away with it. That's all that's happening here. Okay? Thank you.